Good morning, dear students. Welcome back again with a new lesson of health and disease. Health is a state of complete physical and mental and social well beingness, and not merely the absence of any disease. It only simply implies that if you are not having any disease, does not imply that you are healthy. You should be physically, mentally, and socially adjustable, physically strong, mentally able to think properly, take the right decision, and socially you should be able to adjust yourself into the surrounding. Then only you will be called as healthy person. Now, what is disease? A condition of disturbance in physiological or psychological process of a body is called as disease. Each disease has its own specific symptoms. Now, sign and symptoms. Symptoms, we are telling it, science doctors are identifying it. Okay. So, here, if any physiological difficulties are there, a psychological problem is there, then only it is called as a disease. Now, this can be explained here with the help of one chart shown here, types of disease. Here, in this, you can see it very much clearly that types of disease are divided into on the basis of duration and on the basis of reasons. On the basis of duration, chronic disease and acute disease. Whereas on the basis of reasons, it is hereditary disease which is transferred from our parents, and acquired disease by, you can say, contamination or through someone. In acquired disease also there are two types, infectious disease and non-infectious disease. Infectious disease, it can spread by touching each other, and non-infectious, but it does not spread by touching each other. Further, now can you tell part is omitted, so we'll move to ahead with the next part of this lesson, that is infectious disease. Here a table is shown here in which they are given which are the pathogens which are responsible for the disease, what are the mode of infection means through which it can infected, and symptoms and prevention of disease. First of all is tuberculosis. In short, we call it as TB. And the pathogen which is responsible for tuberculosis is mycobacterium, and it can spread by spitting by patient through air, prolonged contact with, and the sharing of materials of the patient. The symptoms which we can, with the help of which we can identify, are chronic cough, bloody spitting, then emaciation, difficulty in breathing. Then the treatment for this is BCG vaccine, then isolation of patient, and regular medication like DOT, which is available in the government hospitals and even the private hospitals also. The second one is hepatitis, and we also call it as jaundice. Then the pathogen which is responsible for this is virus A, B, C, D, and E. It can spread through contaminated water, sharing of needles, blood transfusion, etc. The symptoms is anorexia. Anorexia means which we get wrong feeling of eating food. If you eat food and you will get obese. Then yellow urine, then general weakness, then nausea. Nausea is you feel like vomiting, then vomiting, gray stool. Stool is waste material which you give out. Then prevention and treatment is drinking boiled water, then cleaning of hands after regular interval. Then another disease which is responsible are dysentery, which is caused due to bacteria, virus, then Shigella, Bacilli, Entamoeba, Histolytica, etc. The mode of infection through which it can spread is contaminated food and water, generally outside food. Then symptoms, watery stool, we call it as loose motion. Then pains in the abdomen, that is in the stomach. Then it can be prevented by drinking of boiled water, proper storage of food, and consumption of ORS, oral rehydration solution. Or also possibly, if possible, we can consume the solution of sugar, salt, and water. Then the next one is cholera, which is spread by another bacteria called as Vibrio cholera. And the mode of infection is contaminated food and water. The symptoms which we can get to know that we are suffering from it are vomiting, severe diarrhea, then cramps in the legs. Then best way of prevention is following hygienic practices, avoiding open place food, drinking boiled water, then vaccination against cholera. And last but not the least here, typhoid, which is spread by Salmonella typhi. And the mode of infection is contaminated food and water. The symptoms are anorexia, headache, rash on abdomen, dysentery, fever up to 104 degree Fahrenheit. Drinking clean water, vaccination, and proper disposal of sewage can prevent the disease. Now, this part is omitted, so we'll move ahead with the next page. Now, some important disease of present days. Dengue. Mosquito lay the eggs in water-logged places and thereby the population increases. Different species of mosquitoes spread different diseases. Dengue is spread by Aedes aegypti. This disease is caused by Den1 virus belonging to type flavivirus. Now you have to be very careful while sleeping at the night, especially at the time of rainfall and in the winter season. You have to cover your body with the net or apply odomus in order to be protected from such diseases, dangerous diseases. Here in this, the WBC cells they get reduced very soon. Now, symptoms, acute fever and headache, vomiting. Then, pains in the eye socket is very prominent symptom. Then, decrease in the platelet count, and that may lead to internal hemorrhage. So, you have to be very much careful about dengue. Then, observe this picture as shown and write the description that you can do it with the help of the reference book later on. Now, swine flu. Reason for the infection of swine flu. Infection of swine flu occurs through pigs and humans. Virus of swine flu are spread through sweat of infected person. Similarly, it is spread through secretion of nose, throat and saliva. Symptoms of swine flu: difficulty in breathing, sore throat, body pains, etc. The very harmful disease because symptoms are very much common and therefore it is very much difficult to identify which kind of disease it is. Then diagnosis of swine flu. The diagnosis of swine flu, liquid from throat of patient is sent in laboratory. The diagnosis facilities are available in National Institute of Virology, Pune and National Institute of Communicable Disease. Then another dreadful disease which is spreading in our country rapidly, that is AIDS. Its full form is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. This disease is caused by HIV virus, human immunodeficiency virus. In this, the immune system of the human being becomes very weak. In this, the disease victims suffer from various diseases due to progressive weakening of natural immunity. Diagnosis of AIDS cannot be confirmed without tests in medical laboratories. ELISA test is the use for proper diagnosis. Symptoms of AIDS are person specific. That will depend from person to person, depending upon the immune system. Then infections through animals. One of the dreadful disease infections through animals is rabies. This is a viral disease. It occurs due to the bite of the infected dog, rabbit, monkey, cat, etc. Virus enters the brain in neurons. Then hydrophobia. Hydrophobia means you get scared of the water is one of the important symptoms of this disease. In this case, victim shows extreme fear for water. Rabies is a fatal disease. However, fatality can be prevented by timely vaccination before the onset of symptoms. Symptoms start to appear within 90 to 175 days of the dog bite. So you have to be very careful as soon as dog or any of the animal bites you, you have to take a preventive measure, show it to the doctor and get yourself vaccinated. Then our next part of the disease is non-infectious disease. These are the diseases which cannot be spread by communication or by touching. But these are dreadful diseases. There is no proper treatment for it, but it can be controlled. Non-infectious disease which do not occur through infections and body contacts are called as non-infectious disease. Such disease arise in human body itself due to certain reasons. One of the diseases is cancer. Uncontrolled and abnormal cell growth is called as cancer. Group or lump of cancerous cell is called as malignant tumor. The cancer can occur in various organs like lungs, mouth, tongue, stomach, breast, uterus, skin, and tissues like blood. The reasons for this disease, many are there. Among them, consumption of tobacco, gutka, smoking, alcoholism, lack of fiber content in food, then excessive consumption of junk food like pizza, burger, etc. are some of the many possible reasons. Heredity may also be one of the reasons. Heredity implies here which we get transferred from our parents. Symptoms, how to identify whether we are suffering from cancer. Chronic cough, hoarse voice, difficulty in swallowing. Then, second, incurable sour and inflammation, lumps in breast, unexplained weight loss. These are certain symptoms of the cancer. Then, another dreadful disease, that is diabetes. Now, the hormone insulin produced in pancreas controls the level of sugar glucose in the blood. If insulin is secreted in low quantity, glucose level cannot be controlled. This disorder is called as diabetes. Now, symptoms which cannot be ignored: frequent urination at night, increased obesity or weight loss. Reasons for diabetes, it can be heredity also, it can be because of obesity also, it can be due to lack of physical exercise, or it can be due to mental stress also. So you have to be very careful. If you grow up to age of more than 40 years, you have to be very much careful about your health. Another disease relevant to it is heart disease. The efficiency of the heart disease due to decreased blood supply